There is an endless sea of podcasts about entrepreneurship. Talking about it, but not living it. We live it every day. This is Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle, talking about real estate investing, but also encompassing general subjects in regards to owning small to medium-sized businesses. And of course, all the struggles that business owners must overcome to be successful. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. And this is Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside the Wolf's Den. I'm Joni Wolfswinkle here with my other half, Shawn Wolfswinkle. How are you doing today?
Good. How's everybody doing? It's good to be back and good to be recording again.
Yes.
So.
Exciting. We are on episode 29. Can you believe we're on
30.
episode
30. This is 30.
Is it 30?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's episode 30 then.
So we made, we're in, I don't know what I was going to say. Like, I was going to say triple digits, but it's not. We're,
not yet.
Not yet, but we're, so we're doing well. So we're being consistent, and hopefully everybody's getting a lot of value out of this.
Yeah, and so if you're just new to listening into this, we have started a series taking a deeper dive into buying, managing, and selling residential real estate. And today we're going to be talking about your real estate team, which is crucial to have. It's kind of like when you're playing sports, right? You need to have your
Correct.
Team backing you up.
Yeah, this is real estate's a team sport for sure. So you need to have all your different players in place and to execute well. So
yes. So why don't you start us off, Shawn? Real estate agents. That's one of the number one. You know, you have to have a good real estate agent, a hungry real estate agent on your team, whether you're making offers on properties, out there in the real world looking.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, before we even get there, I think there's the team concept. What we're talking about today is, whether you're buying in your local market or you're buying, out of state, out of the country you need to have your team there locally that's going to support you so that you can live where you want, you can, invest where it makes sense, and your team does majority of the work for you in that market. So you're just the player. You're the one that puts together the pieces and the puzzle pieces or the board pieces together, and then you let them execute. And the nice part is a team is only compensated if they produce. So It's not like you're having to pay for all these employees in a team. You are putting together a team that unless they are making you money, they're not going to cost you anything.
Right.
So
that's a good point. So, I mean, it doesn't matter where you invest in. You could live where you want to live and, invest where it makes sense as long as you have the right team in place.
Correct. And as we've matured and grown in our businesses, your team's been a vital impact.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it's, and even I'm going to speak even outside some of the ones we're going to talk about, but some of the people that are in place for you and working for you outside of our employee base that are helping you support in the property management side are vital for your team.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I didn't have the vendors that I have in my property management company, I wouldn't be able to grow and scale like I have been able to and provide the service that I need to for my clients.
Correct. So let's get into it. So number one, real estate agents. So, talked about those. So you are a real estate agent or a broker. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, so starting off when we started, buying and flipping houses at 19, that was one of the first things that we did. Yeah. We were out there looking for a hungry real estate agent that was going to make offers for us. I mean, we were making probably 50 offers a week.
At least, yeah.
And so, we had a real estate agent that was doing that for us. He, at that time there was no DocuSign or I don't know about emails because I remember him faxing us listings in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I remember. There's a good story with that one. Why don't you tell us what happened?
Yeah, in the middle of the night, I think it was like 1 a.m, all of a sudden we hear something go off, and Shawn gets up frazzled, thinking that somebody's breaking into our house.
Yeah,
And
so the first thing that, I don't know why, but I grabbed the remote control. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the remote control, but I was walking around the house with the remote control, thinking I guess I'm gonna throw it on him. I don't know, and it was the fax machine going off. That
at 1 a.m,
yeah.
there was a new listing that came on the market, and he just knew that he was going to send it to us, before when it came on.
Yeah.
And so those are the hungry agents that you want.
Dwayne.
I still remember him.
Yeah. I hope we never kept in contact with him, but I mean, he was a hungry real estate agent. He worked till 1, 2 in the morning. That was like his time frame that he used to get a lot done. And so the guy was hungry and just persistent and was willing to, put
do
those
the
50,
legwork. Make sure that he would run the numbers for us to make sure that, that's, the deal was going to work for us.
Run and get keys. He would make it happen, opening doors for us if we needed to. And this is all before you got licensed, but pay them well. So like also think about, how can I compensate them or have them work even harder for me, is give them both sides of the transaction. So not only, when you purchase it, give them the commission on that purchase, but then also when you sell it, list it with that same person or promise it to them so that they get both sides of the commission. They'll work harder for you.
They will. And that's something that we did with him, and he appreciated that.
Yeah. And I mean, they'll go the extra mile for you. I mean, they're hungry, they're making it, they're on commission only. And so they're going to work really hard if you're willing to pay them and compensate them.
Absolutely.
Next person on our list is financing. So lenders and banks are going to be a crucial part of your team. So, the first one, that we utilize quite frequently are private lenders.
Yes.
So ever since the very beginning of our business, we've utilized private lenders, and my grandpa was my, first private lender in my business. So I started it with friends and family, we became our first private lender. And we paid them, anywhere from 8 to 12% interest at the time. I usually paid no points, interest only, and they got a first mortgage secured against the property. And today we have millions raised through private individuals that just are looking to get out of the stock market, looking to place their money with somewhere that's a safer place but get a higher return. But when you're presenting to these people, private individuals, whether friends, family, business associates, be presentable. So come with like a package or a presentation that's going to appeal to them.
Yeah, take it serious, just because they are friends and family, and they probably, you tend to be more relaxed about it, like that was one thing with us, like no matter what, like we came prepared. We had our bank book, we had our presentations, before and afters, what we were going to do, all of that.
Correct. And so we had a nice presentation package. It went through the expectations, the returns, if anything goes wrong, what to expect. So if we default, what the next steps are. We give them examples of the promissory notes, the deed of trust. We go before and after photos because a lot of people just love to see photos. So we show them before and after photos of our projects. But even if you're just starting out, you can still get started. Just show them show them, okay, here's the property I'm looking at buying. Here's the materials and budget that I'm expected. Here's my contractor bids that I'm expected to do, and here's the profit potential, and here's the numbers laid out. If they see that you've spent that much time and you've really walked yourself through it and done all the numbers, they're going to lend money to you.
Exactly.
They're going to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
The next one is community banks. So, these are smaller commercial lenders. So they're going to be typically non-recourse lenders, portfolio lenders, meaning that they don't resell the loan after they originate it. They're going to keep it in-house and service it. So these would be like banks that have typically 5 to 15 branches, usually local or credit unions local to your market. And we've always had a lot of success by presenting our bank book.
Yep.
And so we would come in, Joni and I, started in this when we were 19 years old. Like who takes us serious at 19 years old? But we came in and got several banks to loan us money in our 20s, but we came in very professional. So we came in with a 3-ring binder, We would use Avery labels that would label out each section. So like the first section would be our financials. So like our tax returns, our credit report, our income statement. And then the next would be like the property specifics. And then we'd have other banks that are lending money to us. We would outline the property itself. We'd talk about photos. We'd have our business plan in there. And so like we'd present this nice 3-ring binder to them, and they're blown away because typically a client of theirs would normally come in and say, hey, I want to borrow some money on my property and can I fill out an application? And we're coming in with everything ready for them.
Exactly. And then the tabs, they know exactly where to, if they're looking for our tax returns, they know exactly where to flip to it, you know?
So it just makes you stand apart from other people, and they know you're a professional. And even if you're young and just starting out. So, but typically commercial loans are going to be, 20 to 25 year amortization schedules. They're going to be interest rates, it depends. They're, 4 to like 6%. They're going to have balloons typically. So they're going to typically balloon or have to be paid off within a 5 to 10 year period. But, it's another good source for you to help you with your rehabs or to help you with your long-term rentals. And then the last one is conventional financing. So these would be your traditional loans that are backed by Fannie, Freddie, the government, and these would be your typical loan officer type of loans. So, and these are going to be where you're going to purchase with 20% down if you're buying an investment property. Interest rates are very low. Like right now, people are, as we record this today, in November of 2020, interest rates are 3.5%, 3.25 on an investment property, is what we're seeing a lot of our clients lock, which, is unbelievable. I mean, when we started 20 years ago, we
thought 8% was.
that was really, really good at that time. And it was a great loan. And that was even on an owner occupied. And then I think at 1.6%, we thought that was like unbelievable. And now 3.25 on an investment property, that's incredible.
Right.
And, so, that's where you're going to get your best rates. There are 30-year mortgages, no balloons, but the down payment's going to be a little bit more. So, and then Fannie Freddie right now has you can get up to 10 loans, in your personal name. So it's going to be, a limit on that, but and then you are going to have to sign as the borrower, where like a commercial bank or private lender, you can do it in your LLC or your commercial property, however you can, your business entity. So
another one we didn't talk about is hard money lenders.
Yes,
hard money. I know when we got started off, when we didn't have the relationships with the local banks and didn't have we started off young, so we didn't have credibility with, to get a conventional mortgage, that kind of stuff. And so, but we used hard money lenders. Yeah. They lent based on property. So, they
didn't care about the borrower. It was all based upon the property or the deal itself or the asset. And so they would lend based upon the asset. Higher interest rate for sure. Typically when we were using it was 12 to 13%. Typically the points origination fees are somewhere 2-3%. Yeah. They're short-term loans, meaning there's usually 6 months, and then there's usually a fee to get it another 6 months, but very short-term. So it works really well for flips. Right. And if you're buying the asset right, so if you're buying at 50, 60 cents on the dollar, it makes sense, because typically they'll lend you like 75% of LTV. And so loan to value. But yeah.
Well, you could also use it to rehab the property and then refinance it out once it's, rehabbed as well.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely. So who's the next one on our team?
Next one is appraisers.
So the appraisers are going to be, this all changed dramatically in 2007 and 2008. Before, you used to be able to develop a little bit of a report or request a certain appraiser, or the lender would be. So if you're working with the same lenders, you would know what appraisers are using and can develop those. But, in 7 and 8, there was a lot of fraud, a lot of issues. So today, you don't have as much control over the appraisers, but it's still good to know, some appraisers.
It is. And something that we've done is, on any of our properties, we are prepared for any appraiser that calls us to schedule. We have we call it a packet. So we'll give them comparables on properties, what we've actually, the renovations we've done on the expenses on the properties, kind of overwhelm them. So
Yeah, I mean, we're really doing their job for
Right.
them. Yeah, so.
But it helps.
Yeah.
I mean, I have not had a property not appraise because we have, given them this information ahead of time.
Correct.
I won't let them go into the property without getting their information so I can send to them.
Correct. So, I mean, and you'll have some appraisers get all mad, and that you can't give them, but that you can. We get their email, we get their name when we're scheduling the access to the property. And then, like she said, we send our comparables, our rehab costs and fix up and what we did to the house, scope of renovations, and then the contract. And so then we're pretty much telling them this is what the home's worth.
And even if, we buy so many properties. So, there's properties that have recently appraised in that same neighborhood. I'll send them the actual appraisals to that because you can't.
Yeah.
Not appraise something that's already appraised.
Yeah, they're not going to contradict their coworkers or their and then next one would be home inspection company. So you can use them on the purchase. You can use, and then definitely when you're selling the properties, the buyers are going to want a home inspection company. So we always recommend a home inspection company to all of our buyers because there's a lot of macho, egotistical. I'm not talking bad about home inspectors, but if you're a home inspector out there,
they gotta flex their muscles.
Yeah, they gotta show you how much knowledge they have of houses and
there's always got to be something wrong.
So I mean, they'll even on new construction, they're gonna find something wrong,
right?
And that's they got to justify their fee of why they're charging what they do. So they're gonna find things, and their goal is to find things wrong. So they're searching for things that are wrong with the house. But if you find a good one that just understands what you're trying to do, understands and protecting the home or protecting the buyer, so that making sure things are safe, making sure things aren't gonna there's issues in the house that are gonna cause to lose value down the road or quickly. So just those type of things.
Yeah,
but they're not trying to kill the deal.
No, but I mean you as the buyer too, buying your first investment property. I mean you want these people on your team because you might not have experience in roofing and foundation, and so they can catch it, and that can make or break a deal.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're new, just starting out, as you're got your first deal under contract, you might want to use a home inspector just to, go through it with you and find out, okay, what needs to be done on this home when he re-inspects it, later after you're ready to sell and you got it under contract to sell. What things is he gonna be looking for, or she, in the house, so that what the items need to be fixed. And so if you're really inexperienced, this is a great way to do the home inspection, go in the attic with him, follow him everywhere, and find out what is he looking for, what's wrong, why is this, why was this installed wrong, or what's wrong with this.
No, absolutely. I think that's key. Even when you're selling, I know that we do this a lot, when inspectors tend to say certain things on the report. Well, we coach our contractors, hey, this is what you need to look for on the next one. So I don't want to see this happening again. And then if it happens again, then you can
correct. And you can rate so we do that on all of our sales, is that we'll have the vendor or contractor go back out and fix those repairs, but we'll also talk with them or talk with the project manager and say, hey, these are the things you need to be catching on every, so every time you're walking the house that we're doing a final inspection, you need to look for these items because this is what's going to be called out.
So we don't see it as often anymore because we've called it out early on and they know what to expect.
Correct. And I know some really good investors out there use the home inspection reports as a grade for each contractor that they use.
Absolutely.
That's a good way to do it.
That's a great way.
Next one is surveyors. So, especially if you're dealing in new construction, a survey is going to be awfully important.
And something that you need to do at the very beginning,
Yes.
And you should try to do it before you put any money into the deal because
we've had all sorts of issues. So we've gotten houses without a survey, and there's give it the Albuquerque one. That's a good example.
Oh gosh, yes. We thought we had a slam dunk on a property. I think it was a foreclosure. It had a first and a second mortgage, and the second mortgage we ended up
wouldn't settle with us.
Right, they wouldn't settle with us, so we ended up buying the first mortgage, foreclosing on the second mortgage so we can take back the property. Well, it turns out we there was a violation on the property, code enforcement, and so we had to go in front of the city. Well, the city wanted to knock down like half of our house because it was built incorrectly.
Yeah.
And so
it was a big mess because once it got to code violation, there was a variance issue as well. It was over the building line, and so we tried to get a variance, and they were like, "No, there's no way you're ever going to get a variance when you have all these code violations." And so we ended up having to knock down 1,500 square feet of a house. So it was just it
was a mess.
Was a
we thought we had a slam dunk, and then just because we didn't do our homework and our due diligence and didn't get a survey on the property to know that they built over the property line, and
it was a big mess. So it's just imagine like a bobcat just taking 1,500 square feet of your house down, and
as you cry at across the street.
But I mean, we've also made mistakes where neighbors' fences infringe on, come over onto your property, and you're like, oh, that's no big deal, until you go talk to that neighbor, and they're like, well, I've been mowing your yard for 20 years. You owe me $90,000 or $100,000. Or in Texas, they have, what is it called? So correct me later, guys, but it's like almost like squatters' rights. Like they think that since they've been maintaining, or they've been maintaining your portion of land, that it's theirs. And you can go to court and fight over it, and it's a big mess. But
we've even been chased off with machetes just well, this is our lot. No, it's not. They're like chasing us down the road. I'm like,
that was a big mess. I feel bad for Bob, our project manager, having to deal with that guy. He's seen it all. So just get a survey. It protects you, because there's all sorts of issues out there. Fences don't line up. Building lines are messed up, and you can miss a lot of things. And if you're in new construction, it's crucial.
It's crucial.
Making sure that your form surveys are in, and that you're building in the correct area, and you're not on any easements, or you were in the building line restrictions. So make sure you take care of those. Next one on your team is an architect or home design company.
Yeah, we have one that does it turnkey for us. They do the plans, they run the plans to the city, and so it's truly a hands-off for us. We don't have time and energy to do that, so we have one on our team that does it all, and we have weekly meetings with them on what they've done that week, and what projects are coming out of the city, so we can start building on. So
and they'll have relationships with these cities because they run the plans in, and so they'll have relationships that they can call on, or call in a favor, or say, hey, I need this one, or can you approve this, and so they'll usually have, because they're there so often, they develop those relationships, and so that you can usually get stuff done quicker. So, architects are going to be more money. We used not an architect, it's just a design company. So they're a design and permit company, and so they just help us with those, but they've done an excellent job for us, and really help in the new construction side. And they're a lot cheaper than a typical architect would be.
Yeah. So. And title companies, we've been with the same title company for now, 15 years?
Yeah. So they've serviced all our needs. They've helped, and how we found out about them or came upon them. We used to use somebody else, and we had an issue with the
deed. It was we bought a property that was sold on a quitclaim deed.
Yeah.
Right, and so we went to sell the property, and we couldn't sell it, so we had to go back to the title company.
That issued the initial title insurance.
Right, and it had to be, wasn't it? Our title company it was them. And so anyhow, we ended up having to, our years of knocking on doors paid off, because we ended up having to go to the prior owner to get them to sign a deed, which was difficult in itself. We had to do some negotiating, and of course they wanted money for it. But anyhow, our current title company was the closing title company, and but they helped us through the transaction, and to this day, I mean, they still
have been very loyal. And the owner of the company has been one of our biggest private lenders for, the last 15 years. 15 years. I mean, he's the largest lender we have privately, and so we've had a really great relationship. And his son's the real estate attorney that we use. His other son is our real estate insurance agent. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then, it's been a good relationship, family relationship, and we've got to know him over the years. So they're going to be vital as your title company, is making sure that you got clear title, making sure that everything's checked. Next one's your real estate attorney. So, they can handle easement agreements, closing, they can draft real estate contracts for you, review contracts for you to make sure you're, and then defend you if you ever have a lawsuit. So,
and even set up your LLC if you want to set up an LLC for your properties, they can do that for you as well.
Yeah, so that we've had, again, a good relationship where they've liked working with us. We've built a good relationship where our real estate attorney has also been one of our larger private lenders as well. And it's been a good relationship too. So not only if you notice a trend, that a lot of our team end up becoming some of our lenders too.
But you know what? Yeah. It's all about building relationships and keeping those close relationships with you and the connections you make.
Correct. So. And they're also, they'll be out there and they'll know things, they'll see things and hear things and like refer you on to really good deals and opportunities too down the road.
And they'll also look out for you as well,
Yeah, absolutely. So next one is property management company.
Yeah. So, you definitely need a good property management company on your team because that will make or break your property. If you don't have good property management in place, then, that could cost you.
Correct. So, what can they do? So somebody that maybe wants to invest out of state, what would the property management company do for you?
Boots on the ground. They know the markets, they know what they can get for rents in the area. And then they can also analyze, what the property is going to need in terms of make ready to get the property rent ready.
Correct. Yeah, it's awesome. And and keep you out of trouble.
Oh, absolutely. Keep you out of trouble. I don't know how many times because we have to follow property code and not all investors know that. They're like, I don't want to pay for that. Well, no, we're trying to save you here. Yeah. So, definitely keeping them out of trouble.
Comps, I think,
like comparables.
Yeah, knowing what the property's going to rent for. And they'll do a lot of legwork for you. So if you're just looking at investing in a specific market, and you want to just make sure that this deal that it, that you got to perform on it. Is it really going to rent for this? You can, have them look at it. You can probably have one of their team members go and visit and give you a estimate on the rehab.
And really, in interviewing your property management company, I think you should have a list of questions on what your property management company does for you, right? Because I think that I get calls every day that, the only thing that they ask about is what's your price? How much in management fees do you charge? What do you charge in leasing fees? But they don't get into the nuts and bolts of what the property management company does for you, okay? You get what you pay for, basically.
Yeah. So, they should go with a list of questions like,
be prepared. Like, what do you want? Like, what are your days on market? What is your average make ready? List of questions.
Average, like how many units you manage.
What are the steps you take to process an application? What do you look for?
Correct. How do you handle evictions? Especially in a time like today, how are you handling collections and evictions? Your make ready, do you charge on make ready costs? What's your fees? You can get into fees. That's important as you look at it, but also what services are they doing? What customer service, how do they handle communication? I think should be a really big one. So like, how are they only responding, when there's an issue? Are they being proactive on their communication? Are they...
What types of properties they manage too? Yeah. Because you don't want, if you're looking at, over 1,000, you don't want somebody that's managing $500 amount, then it's probably not a good fit.
Yeah. So, and then how many staff they have. I think you should know if they're properly staffed and if they can adequately support, what your expectations are.
Absolutely.
Next one is contractors. So, if, we're going to get into trades, but this is more for managing the project. So your general contractors, so they can handle projects from start to finish. They have the crews in place. They'll do it for a percentage of the total estimated cost. But you need a good contractor that's going to support you, that's going to know what to do, that's going to know what to look out for.
Right. And it's kind of like you have to test and trial because our current contractor has been with us probably for a good 12 years.
Yeah.
But they come and go. They do good for a little bit and then they fall off. So it's like one of those constant things that you have to keep finding contractors.
Yeah. Always be looking. Always be asking for referrals. Sometimes they're great for a while, and then they fall off the bandwagon, and then you can't let your guard down. And this is maybe unfair, but you always got to inspect what you expect.
Yes.
So again, I'll say that inspect what you expect. You have to always. You can't. There was a year there that I stopped doing that, and I took a lot of faith on our contractors.
Yeah, and the product was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you stopped going to job sites because you were too busy in the office, and and relied on them solely to get things done, because I mean they've been doing it the same way for 12 years, and so they should know what to expect. But no, like, you have to be on them constantly.
Yeah. And they're just trying to get in and out of the jobs and onto the next, onto the next one as quickly as possible. They're trying to make money, and so
we get that.
And sometimes it's not always being malicious or that they're trying to take advantage of you. Sometimes it's just they're just trying to make as much money as they can and move on to the next. They're trying to feed their family too. So, but you got to make sure that you hold them accountable and keep them on.
And you take care of them too. That was another thing too. Is contractors, they tend to want to get paid when they finish the job. So be prepared to do that if you want loyal contractors.
Pay on time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and pay as you expected, or how you laid it out on the contract. But and we've always really taken good care of them. So we've financed homes for them over the years, or their family, and owner
Vehicles.
finance. We bought a vehicle for one year. But we also, when you want to just, on a Friday afternoon and you just want to take care of them, we've brought them,
Rudy's barbecue. Yeah.
And, beer sometimes, but not always. But I mean, you just take care of them, and they'll go out of their way for you.
Absolutely.
Trade. So I think you need to have every trade in your pocket, and a lot of these you can just develop by word of mouth and by referrals, for asking other trades for, hey, do you have a plumber, or do you have an electrician?
And again, constantly feeding that, multiples of each trade, because they will come and go.
Correct. So like electricians, handyman, appliance companies, flooring, glass and mirror people, countertops.
Yeah.
So I have all those in your back pocket. The last one we said on our real estate team is a good turnkey provider. So this is, another business that we do along with property management, but another good person on your team is a turnkey provider. So somebody that finds properties for you, rehabs them, and then rents them for you, and then you just come and buy them turnkey, ready to go, or they build new construction and then rent them and then sell them to you. So, this is somebody on your team that you can count on for deal volume. If you're looking right now to take advantage of the low interest rates and, buy out of state, I think a turnkey provider is really going to be a crucial part of your team to make sure that you can hit your investment goals.
Yeah, and again, interviewing them is crucial.
Yeah. What would you ask on of a turnkey provider? What kind of?
Well, the property management alone. So do they outsource their property management, or do they have it in house? Because we've seen it where they outsource it and it's a mess.
Yeah.
And so like when they come here, it's truly like once you're completed with the project, it comes over to our property management team, and the handoff is smooth.
Correct.
We're not going anywhere.
Correct. And I think going back to what Joni mentioned earlier, as we wrap this up, your team, you need to develop that relationship. It's all about it's the relationship you have with your team. So, whether it be your bankers, your agents, your private lenders, your property management company, contractors, turnkey providers, you want to develop that relationship. Spend time with them. I recommend, if you're investing out of state, visit the team, visit the property management, visit the turnkey, visit the job sites, develop that rapport and spend time with them, and, it'll pay off in the long run. But,
totally agree.
It's got to be the relationship and the time invested. So as you build your team, develop that relationship, continue to always be working on it. I think always be adding on to it and develop and growing and any last words?
No, if you have any questions, any of our listeners have questions on any of the value that we added today, then please reach out to us. Share this with your friends and like us, give us a review.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
You've been listening to Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. Tons of entrepreneurial podcasts are out there. talking. Talking. But Joni and Shawn are living it every single day. Their portfolio now includes many franchises and medium-sized businesses. We talk about the trials and motivators of successfully running a business. Join us again soon for another podcast. But until then, reach out on the website at InsideTheWolfsDen.com, on Facebook at Inside the Wolf's Den, on Instagram at Inside the Wolf Den. We'll see you again soon. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. We'll see you next time.